So what do people in Appalachia want to do for entertainment? Well, speaking for my family, if you've seen several of my videos, you've probably already guessed. We like to make music. That's one of the ways we love to be entertained, is making music. Whether we're making it for a performance somewhere or just sitting around in the kitchen goofing and playing music. That's just what we like to do. You've probably also seen that we spend a lot of times in the woods. We love to be in the woods. That's really our main entertainment, is that whether it's hot summer like it is right now, you can probably see sweat rolling off, or in the cold winter where we build a fire. We love to be out and about in the outdoors. It's just rewarding, enjoyable, makes you feel like you're away from everything. So that's our primary source of entertainment. Of course, we like to read books. I love to read books. Katie, you've heard enough of her probably to know she loves rock. So it's her business, but it's also an entertainment because it's something she loves about. For me personally, I love Appalachia. So even though it's my work, it's what I do for a living, I love to read about it. I love to hear stories. I love to find out something I didn't know. You know I love to talk about the language. So there's just various things for entertainment that people like to do. Of course, that's my family. When it comes to other families, their choices differ. And, you know, one of the fallacies about Appalachia is that, all they like to do is, their main entertainment is making moonshine and drinking it. No, that's not true. There are people who make moonshine. There are people who drink a lot, whether they make it or go buy it. That's certainly true. It's certainly true that Appalachia is like much of the rest of the country. It's the same. There's people whose entertainment in Appalachia that live right down the road from me probably. Their entertainment is video games. They love video games. Not just playing them in their house. They love to get online, how people do. I'm not sure because I don't play video games, but how they play with people from different areas, maybe all over the world. There's people who enjoy that. There's people who enjoy sports, of course. All different sports. They play, they coach, they go to the ball games, they watch all the ball games on TV, racing, all the things in mainstream, watching movies and TV shows and all that, all the things that you think of as entertainment for all of the country, the United States as a whole, whether you're talking about New York City or Brasstown, North Carolina, you'll find some of the exact same interest. It's just a fallacy that people in Appalachia only make moonshine and drink it and then do other horrible things. You know, I don't even need to go into that, all the terrible stereotypes. But for a lot of, like I said, my family and friends that I know, their entertainment it's part of what brings them joy is what entertainment is. So it's entertaining their faith, whether it's worship, going to church, singing, worshiping out in the great outdoors like this, or in your special place wherever it's at. It's their family. What's more entertaining than spending time with your kids and your maybe your nieces and your nephews and your grandkids, your aunts and uncles, listening to those old stories, your grandma, your grandpa, all those things. That's a form of entertainment. Since being outside is one of our favorite things to do for entertainment, I'm going to show you a few of the sights and sounds we see today as we hang out in the woods together and fellowship and enjoy the creek and enjoy some good food. We brought some dinner we're going to cook and just enjoy being with each other. So stick around for that, and please make sure that you leave a comment and tell me what you do for entertainment. Is it just hanging out with your friends? Is it spending time with your family? Maybe it's those ball games or video games, or maybe it's watching Celebrating Appalachia on YouTube. One of the prettiest things about the mountains of Appalachia are the springs. You can see right here's a spring up in there, comes way out of the mountain, and you see it trickling down. It actually divides itself. It's really dry here now, or it would be a little bit fuller. It turns into this little branch going down through here, and then this branch continues on down the way till it filters into Stamy Creek. I've always loved these small spring-fed branches. When I was a little kid, I just thought they were magical. It was one of my favorite places that I loved to play. I would find one like this, I guess because it was accessible. You didn't have to worry about getting, washed away if you were small and the water was intimidating. You could dig and find all the little small round rocks that you wanted. It was just a good place to play, a good place to have a little playhouse. As an adult, I think they're magical. I mean, magical in the way that it's just one of those things in the world that we don't know how the Creator thought to make all these things. But how waters from the mighty deep bubble up into all these various springs, come out into the world, into the land, into the woods, and trickle away. You know, like I said, this little creek's going to go down to the Stamy Creek, which is going to go on down to Brasstown Creek and on down to the Hiwassee River and on and on and on. And amazing that it starts here. This is just one of many, many, many in many different locations. But that it provides for the animals, it provides for people in days gone by when they, you know, were spring-fed houses. That's how you got your drinking water. Even when I was growing up, until I was in 8th grade, we drank from a spring. We had gravity water. Just one of the very magical things, and a great place to hang out on a hot August day. About every summer when I was growing up, one of the cousins, or me, or Paul, would come up with the ideal that we should dam up the creek. You know, then we could have a real swimming hole. We could have a big one. Well, we might have once or twice got it deep enough to lay down in, but we never did succeed in really getting it deep. But a lot of people, another favorite thing we like to do is to look for spring lizards. And way back in the day, you could still sell them for fish bait. I think that's illegal now. But so there was that. I think we mostly did it just for Pap or whoever was going to go fishing, for them to be able to use them. But a lot of people, on some of Katie's videos about rocks, some people will say, well, you're disturbing the environment. Oh my gosh, that's so horrible. You're killing things. Well, to begin with, we wouldn't. If we caught a lizard today, we'd just let it go. We wouldn't kill it. But as far as destroying the environment, the creeks and the world, actually, now I'm all for saving the environment, don't get me wrong, but a kid or even a grown-up playing in the creek is not going to damage the environment. Our creeks are much stronger, much sturdier than that, and for eons, whether it was people washing their clothes in them or kids playing in them, whether they were catching lizards trying to dam them up for summer fun or just sticking their feet in them. I mean, that's just happened since the beginning of time. People are drawn to water. Of course, it's because they need it to drink, but also as a source of entertainment, a source of cooling off, source, like I said, of washing their clothes. It's just mesmerizing. So I don't think that we're endangering the environment by playing a little bit in the creek. Aren't the rocks amazing? All of them. No wonder Katie loves them. I loved them when I was little, but I never managed to make anything out of them like she does. But when I was little, I would find one like that. I would look for the perfect one every time I went to the creek and take them home. I still have some of them somewhere. They're not really, Katie would tell you, the kind that you could do much with as far as polishing, because they're brittle and they'll break. But they sure are pretty.
Okay, come up here.
Where y'all going now?
Go hunt that big dead log, I'm gonna cut it. Pretty dated.
Is it?
Get all the way around. So I can get over here and don't have to carry it so far. Alright.
If you waste that, you ain't gonna eat it, 'cause I love that stuff. She's acting like it's disgusting. It's delicious. Do you want another piece? It tastes just like that potpourri on the back of people's toilet smells. It's blueberry. It's got blueberry in it. It's delicious.
Blueberry chocolate?
Yeah. Yeah, it's nasty. Oh, it's delicious. They make chocolate.
What'd you say it tastes like, Katie?
She said potpourri. The potpourri that you find on the back of people's toilets and
Have you ever ate potpourri off the back of somebody's toilet?
No, but it's what it smells like. You ever eat something and you think that tastes like the way something smells, and it smells like when you go to a restaurant or even at a church. They're trying to decorate the bathroom, be real nice, and that's just what it tastes like, is how that nasty potpourri smells, and they're just trying to do something nice, but it's gross. Hey, who are you? Funny looking little grasshopper. That ain't no grasshopper. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it is. Sure it is. Look at it. That is not a grasshopper.
That's incorrected. That ain't like no grasshopper I ever
No,
seen.
it is. Well, there was one of them on me.
Oh no, you can't leave it there. Come here. You can go in my bag.
Come home with you and jump out and bite you. That would be the ultimate irony. I waited just to bite you on your own toast. I wouldn't like that unidentified creature crawl all over me.
I think some little cricket or something.
See this? It's cedar bark that I got out of Georgia down there turkey hunting back in the spring.
Man, it sure does smell good.
I stripped it off a tree just to start fires with, and I brought it uphill.
Cool.
Ain't that cool?
Yeah. It's coolables. I like poplar trees. I think they're pretty. And then the woods in them is pretty. Wood in them is pretty good.
That's what it is.
It's pretty, ain't it? Good room.
Being attached to where you live is not a bad thing.
No, it shouldn't be a negative thing. You want to hand me a branch and I'll break it up? I'm damp. I did a job.
So this is the saw that I used to cut up the firewood for our little cook fire we're going to cook on. And it's a Spring Creek, I think, Spring Creek manufacturing folding buck saw. And it folds down really small and you can put it in a pack, and it works really, really good for cutting what we just cut, that size wood. It'd cut 6-7 inch diameter wood, I think, but it works really well, and it just folds down, comes apart, and it actually, so it folds down and the blade goes inside the main tube. And it just folds down into just a little stick about 18-20 inches long, and you can stuff that down in your pack, and it's a good tool to have in the woods.
That little carbon fiber bow, dang, I forgot how much I liked it.
The fiddle sounds awful good too.
That's why I brought it.
With the fiddle.
I know. I like mine awful well. I just like it because I know it. It's mine.
Right.
Especially after they did that work on it. Yeah.
They'll be here by the droves, won't they?
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty little rock too. Somebody bought it that's 68 years old. I'm telling you, I like this little bow. David, give me this too.
Your fiddle music blesses me.
Well, thank you.
Coming from a family of guitar pickers, fiddle music soothes my soul.
Well, thank you. What are you trying to say to me, Mom?
Sorry.
Well, it's not. I'm not about that piece out or that else. I don't worry about it. Put that nothing more. But I'm about to not worry about it. Yeah, that's the fun now that it's fun when I had a really nice bow. Carbon fiber. See, I didn't know at that point that I really wasn't going to get big as blue. I might have waited instead of buying the expensive one. I still had the carbon fiber ran a really nice one, but I didn't know at that point I could get it in. But I do love
That thing makes this one. It's heavy, but there ain't nothing in it. You know?
I carried that one for many years, dear.
It's heavy.
I may go back to it too, because that one's irritating me.
Mama.
Not big enough.
You have tomatoes?
Can I have that instead of my steak? I'm kind of over the steak.
Yeah,
there's
I
plenty
know
of it.
somebody
Look how
that'll
much I
take care of
packed.
your steak.
I'm kind of over it, to be honest.
And chips.
I want something else. It's for you, Daddy. Oh, I have peaches too.
Mama, get the stick out of the food.
Eat. Be merry.
So we're about to eat dinner. Matt's cooked up some squash and zucchini and peppers and ham for us over the fire. We've got some tomatoes fresh out of the garden, some peaches Corey brought, and some chips.
I have enough, I'll tell you that much.
You have another Galkin green.
Oh, I forgot to give you the fork.
Alright, somebody serve themselves.
Go right ahead. What'd you do with the one you was eating, anything?
I'm a little bit busy at the moment.
So we built a little fire to cook our dinner on. Matt's making some hot chocolate right now. But even if we hadn't ate, we would have made some kind of little fire. And in Appalachia, that's called a gnat smoke. This time of the year, you think, well, why in the world would you build a fire and it's so hot? Well, a gnat smoke is not really this high. It doesn't burn this high. It's just a little smoldering kind of fire with smoke going out. Very smoky. And that's to prevent bugs from coming around where the people are gathered, where they're gathered up talking. So when I was young, anytime we sat outside of an evening, as the day was almost gone, Pap would build a little gnat smoke and to ward off all the bugs while we were sitting around enjoying each other's company. See this big briar? This is what we call a sawbriar. A sawbriar means that you better watch out. It's got some long thorns and they will grab a hold of you before you know it, and they can cut the blood out of you. So a lot of people ask us when they see these videos of us wandering around in the woods, are you not afraid of animals, of wild animals? Well, there are wild animals in Appalachia, of course. There's even right here where I live, there's bear, there's coyote, bobcats, there's painters, or stories of painters. I have a good painter story I need to tell you. So there are animals, but most of the time those animals hear you long before you ever even know they're around, and they skedaddle because they don't want to have nothing to do with you either, even when you invade their territory. But things you do have to watch out for are like these sawbriars. You'll be going along and not even noticing if you're not paying attention, and you get tangled up in. This is a huge sawbriar. They go all over this little area where me and Corey's standing, and you don't pay any attention, and before you know it, you're cut up, your clothes are tore, and you're bleeding, all from a sawbriar. See this little terrapin? He's hid up in there. Maybe it's a her, maybe she's about to lay some eggs, I don't know. We seen the terrapin as we were coming in, and we've come back to look at it. So some people call them, I guess the real name for them is a box turtle. That's the probably. If not, you can tell me that I'm wrong, that's okay. But my whole life growing up, Pap and Granny called them terrapins. So that's what I call them, is a terrapin. People have varying opinions about them. You're not supposed to bother them, of course, because, you know, you're liable to get salmonella or some kind of poisoning from them. I have my niece, when she was a little girl, she would find a terrapin in the yard. She would keep it for a pet for a few days, feed it grass, feed it different things, and then she'd paint a little streak of fingernail polish on it, like to mark it, and then she'd let it go. Well, one time we were up in the woods, entertainment, like I said, like we like to do. We were way up above where we are now, and we seen a terrapin, and it had a little stripe of pink on it. So I was like, see that little terrapin? It's making tracks for Moccasin Creek, hoping that a little girl never catches it again. But in Appalachia, you'll hear lots of stories about kids keeping terrapins for pets and then turning them loose. Another story that you'll hear sometimes, John Paris wrote about it, is see all those beautiful markings on its shell? They're so pretty. Is that the Cherokee Indians, they say that those markings tell a story. Now, I can't tell the story. I don't know if it was a certain Indian that could read them and tell the story, or if that was kind of general knowledge with the Cherokee, but isn't that wonderful to think about? So that tells me that the Cherokee actually love the terrapins as much as I do. I think it's a baby dragonfly. He was washing down the creek and I saved him. Oh, away he goes. See the pretty red? Isn't that beautiful? Those beautiful colors. When I was a little girl, these were the ones I loved to pick up out of the creek. I don't know if you can see, but that one's like two-tone. One side's one color, and one side's the other color. I also like these long ones like that. All of these have just been wore by the creek. That's why they're shaped like that. They're tossed and turned and just wore. Eventually they'll wear into nothing. Sometimes you find one that's got a little indention. That one's got like, and you wonder what in the world made that little, it's just a little round rock except for that one place. Fascinating. In the calmer sections of the creek, over at the edges where the fast water's not running, there's where you can find water spiders. See that one? Some people call them water skimmers. Seems like there's another name, but we always called them water spiders. And I'm always amazed by how they sit there. They sit there and wait. You can see that this is really pretty, the shadow underneath it. That's a water spider.
Now, Satan Demon, I flick him on you.